Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. The Federal Reserve left interest rates unchanged today, but it noted there is some growing uncertainty about the direction, short and medium term, of the U.S. economy. Today's decision, as you might remember, marked the second consecutive time the central bank opted to hold rates steady. This following a series of cuts between September and December. CBS News MoneyWatch correspondent Kelly O'Grady joins me now. I'm always happy to see you, Kelly. Break it down for us. What's the most important takeaway of what actually transpired today?
Uncertainty, a major. We heard Chair Powell say uncertainty over and over again, and it was driven by a number of things. The effect of the tariffs, potential tariffs that we have yet to see come into place on April 2nd, the consumer sentiment and how that has been weighing on a potential pullback in spending. I think that Powell tried to paint a picture that, look, the hard data does not say that we are in a recession or anything close to it. And he's absolutely right. In fact, we have seen inflation tick down when we got the CPI reading just last week. But there was just this air of uncertainty of what these trade policies and what this consumer sentiment could mean for the economy. And remember, if you have high inflation, but also a pullback in spending, that is a really tough situation for the Fed to be in.
Kelly O'Grady, thank you very, very much. I want to bring in Donna Ginther now. She is a distinguished professor of economics at the venerable University of Kansas, of course, the nearby University of Missouri, just as venerable, if not more so. Donna, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Let's begin our conversation about the Federal Reserve action today and what it might suggest about where things are heading economically.
Great. Well, the Fed stood still on interest rates, and they did that in response to the amount of uncertainty in the economy. And what was notable about their announcement was that they're expecting, the FOMC members are expecting higher inflation, higher unemployment, and lower growth going forward. So, and that is being attributed to the uncertainty in the economy about the future of economic policy.
And yet the stock market rose today. The Dow was up nearly 1%, the NASDAQ up 1.7%, the S&P up 1%. Either they were pricing that in or not as nervous about higher inflation, slower economic growth, and more uncertainty.
I think they were pricing it in. You remember last week was pretty bad for the stock market. We entered correction territory, and it's bounced back a bit, but not to the level it was a month ago.
And Donna, regionally, meaning in the Midwest, what kind of effects, if any, are you seeing about either the reductions to the size of the federal workforce or the conversation about either where tariffs are or where they might be heading, and the overall umbrella term that Kelly O'Grady invoked and the Federal Reserve Chairman, more importantly, invoked all day today, uncertainty?
Well, what we're seeing in the Midwest is uncertainty about the future of federal employment. Kansas City is home to 30,000 federal workers, and we know that hundreds of workers have lost their jobs. If that number moves into the thousands, then there's going to be a large amount of unemployment and a reduction in consumer spending, especially for discretionary spending for things such as cars, restaurants, home building materials, and the like.
And what about the agriculture sector of the Midwest and the conversation about either tariffs or movement at USAID, which in some small measure has attachments to U.S. agriculture?
A year ago, in fiscal year 24, the federal government spent $100 million on grain sorghum for USAID. And that's gone away coming this year. And so there are stocks of sorghum in grain bins in the state of Kansas. So there's a lot of uncertainty going forward, especially with tariffs. China buys a lot of sorghum from the state of Kansas. That's a big concern for farmers. And the farm economy was already in the doldrums before any of the talk of tariffs. So it's not a good indicator for the future of ag in this state. We'll be watching what happens with tariffs very carefully.
Donna Ginther, University of Kansas, thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.